So, first point we have the end of the beginning. What does that mean to you?
It's like, the end of my whole journey from 2014, high school, all those different projects just on the East Coast in Charlotte, and even the beginning of when I moved out here to LA, just that whole mindset of, what am I gonna do, the purpose behind everything is really all just been solidified. So it's not really any more questions involved. It's just everything's kind of starting now. So yeah, it's the end of the beginning.
Okay. And that's what inspired your Born Again collection?
Actually, yes, in a way, it is, because, the Born Again collection came from just wanting to infuse all the, values of GQC into one project, because it's not only clothes, but it's about Jesus. Anyone that knows Jesus knows that you have to be born again. It's going from an old creation to a new creation. So the clothes are upcycled, just going from old clothes, recycled clothes, thrift clothes, turning those into shorts, all those sorts of things, one of a kind. And the collection's almost halfway done. The 10th short is about to release, and that's exciting in itself. But yeah, that is where it came from.
Would you just say that being Born Again was the inspiration behind your first shorts and the design of those?
It gave me more direction as far as, just the love involved, because me personally, I have to create from a point of love. I can't create from depression. I don't know, it's just something, I just don't like that. I don't like to be sad when I'm creating. I need to be happy, but it can't be superficial happiness. I have to have real peace, real happiness. That's why I was so inactive in a way when I moved out here, because there was things that you can't feel without God. And so once I had that, I knew what I had to do, and the name just came naturally, just out of prayer, just the Born Again collection. And then the whole connection between how I just said earlier with recycling, thrift clothes, and the new clothes. It was seamless. So yeah, it all spawned from that relationship and just moving forward with that.
Ooh. So there's something very different about your shorts and the way you create them. So can you tell us what type of fabric and what type of planning goes into creating all of your shorts and your designs? And
okay, I got you. Yeah, they're all one of one, of course, because you can't really pick the same sweaters again, or you can't find the same sweaters again, or at least combine them. And for me, that was important because I get bored really easily. So the fact that they're one of one means that each short I get to have fun just rearranging it in any way I can. The last one I just put out was the American Youth one, which was the most intricate one I put out. I chose to use sweaters and shirts because just sourcing fabric from a sustainable aspect was a little bit time consuming, or there just wasn't enough resources to find people. Either it was super far out in Europe, or it was in Germany, the type of linen that I wanted. And it just didn't make sense to ship it all the way to the US just to make shorts. So I thought that I would just maybe, one day I just went to Goodwill and I found some shirts because I wanted some pajamas. So I was maybe I could just make it out of shirt material. And so I did it, and then I made them, and it turned out to be the same, because obviously it's still a fabric. But I did that first test maybe early 2019, where I actually turned clothes, a shirt, into some shorts. And I thought it was cool, so then I made another one that was this Rosa Parks shirt and this Thank You Donors one that you keep saying that you want. but yeah, that Rosa Parks one was the second one I made. And it was just from me having fun. I was I could use this pattern to make some shorts out of a shirt, just because I didn't feel like waiting 30 days for this linen to come in from Germany. But then it turned out being better because then every piece looks different. And I think that's what really speaks more about clothing, because we kind of go through clothing so fast, it's objectified in a way. And then we started to objectify the process, ignoring who's making it. And then it just becomes something that we assume was created with love, when there's actually so much hatred and greed involved, with like the sweatshops and the labor of people that shouldn't be working, like kids, or even just people being underpaid, like severely underpaid, like a quarter to make a Nike jersey that sells for over $100. And it's just weird. It was just weird to me. It just didn't make sense. So if we're making clothes out of this certain cotton that uses like chemicals and whatnot, that's why I use organic cotton, because otherwise those chemicals bleed into the communities around the crops. And there's so many like birth defects and just things that are worth much more than clothes just to grow cotton. Like, people are losing their lives. It's contaminating water. Also, we can just have a bigger yield on cotton, and it just didn't make sense to me. So I feel like the price difference was worth just that alone, just the health risk, the environmental risk. And I don't really shop that much anyway, so when I buy pieces, I invest. So I don't really mind paying a little bit more, especially if it's quality.
You're amazing, Chi. So when I first met you, you were from North Carolina, you moved out here. Can you tell me more about that journey from moving from North Carolina to LA?
Yeah, that was oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. There was so much that went on. I mean, I probably told you a bunch about that, but let's see. I mean, like, first of all, I never moved out the house before, so that was different. I was dating someone at the time. That took a heavy toll on me. Just being in a new city, that took a heavy toll. I just really felt alone. That took a heavy toll. There's so many things that went on that year that was it just felt so horrible. Like, probably it felt like the worst year of my life, but it also was the best year of my life, because in your weakness, that's when God gives you strength, and that's when you really learn to be humble. It doesn't, for some people, it doesn't take that, but for me, that's just how I learned it. And it wasn't really in ignorance. It was just, I was in such a place where I had to make a decision, especially in a city like LA, where it's so easy to go left. As far as like, even like morally, there's so many things to get involved with. I had to really be decisive on what type of person I was going to be and what I was going to follow. And so that year was really, it wasn't really a turning point, but it was even a digging deeper point. Like, okay, if this is the life you're living, then you need to be about it, because now you're really responsible for what you're doing. And that's what moving out here like brought about in my life. So it was a good thing though. It's an amazing thing.
So should I bring up that I'm throwing an event? Because do they know it's me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, do your thing.
So I am throwing an event in March on the 14th called Not From This World, and Chi QC is doing his pop-up there. So, explain your excitement behind that.
Yeah, so there's gonna be at the event, the Chi QC space, and I got a lot planned just for that alone. And right now I'm actually working on some other projects to kind of fill this space, not only just for the pop-up, but for the films that are coming after it. But as far as a pop-up, it'd be like the table, all that stuff, the poster, the different sculptures, the shorts, all the garments. I'm still figuring out my whole setup, because it's like my first one ever. Mm-hmm. So it's super exciting, but but yeah, no, I'm excited though, because I just love, for me, intimacy is the goal. Mm-hmm. It's not about, not saying that I don't want to scale or anything like that, but I think when you lose intimacy, you start to become just another name, or just like a brand. I think if you value certain things, the intimacy will stay. It's like if you value design, if you value your sourcing, if you value, how you, I guess, treat the people you work with, if you value the supply chain and like what's involved, and like realizing that it's not about you or about your company or you getting this certain fabric or material, but what is involved in getting that. Some people, I guess I should say, like to buy certain things that are attached to certain markets that are not necessarily beneficial for anyone except the buyer, and that's just selfish. So I try to take everything into consideration. I'm not perfect, but that's my goal. And I love pop-ups because you get to really talk to people and learn about them. You know, I'd really rather know someone and get to know them and just have a heart-to-heart than them just buy my shorts and leave. I actually don't even need them to buy my shorts. Like, that's not why this exists. If that's why it exists, that'd just be a sad day because I have stuff in stock. You know, I haven't sold everything yet, but that's not the goal of it. It's spreading the message, it's spreading truth, it's spreading love. And so this is just the vehicle of which I'm working in at the moment, but there's more to come down the line.
So good. So can you tell me more about how the jellyfish coexist with ChiQC and your brand?
Yes, I love the jelly. Everyone sees the jellyfish, but I've only in person do I really explain the jellyfish, but I can explain it now since it's easier for me. But I do have some like visuals coming out that will visually display what I'm about to say. But the jellyfish is so beautiful, and it just like touches so many things because first of all, I use the immortal jellyfish, which is real. You can Google it. It's just a jellyfish that when it grows to an adult, it basically reverses its life back into a baby, and it lives forever in that way. So it's like if you live to 100, you live to 99, and then you go back to a baby. 99 baby, 99 baby. It's like you never die unless something just kills you. That's the only way it dies. Something eats it, kills it, something like that, but otherwise it won't die. And I just use that to just instill, it's kind of like a symbol for eternity. It's like a symbol for eternity with ChiQC, because even in the realm of truth, where you have God who is eternal, it says that he abides in eternal places. I'll put it this way: the jellyfish doesn't even swim. Like when it pulses, it's actually eating. I thought it was swimming at first, but this museum person told me that it's actually just eating when it pulses. It only moves by the current of the water. And anyone that's read scripture knows that anyone born again of God is following the will of God. They're not following their own will. We're to deny ourselves. And so in that, the jellyfish is doing exactly that. It's following the wave of the water. It's the Holy Spirit in a way. I just think it's interesting. I could paint so many pictures with it, but I think eternity and humility and just being a vessel is kind of what I use it for the most in my mind. But it'll make more sense down the line. Yeah.
You're so cool, Chi. And ever since I've known you, you've always worked on a lot of projects, planning. You have this really cool sketchbook. I'm not sure if I should even say that right now. But can you tell me more about your kimono film that you are planning and working out?
Aha, yes. That's the first film that's actually coming out for this year. The goal is to release it this year, 2020, because I have the story, the garments for it, like basically I already created the main garment, which is a kimono. I was invited to this fashion show. I was invited to this fashion show at LMU like last year in 2019. So I made a kimono then, but I haven't put it on the internet because I wanted to debut it in a film. But the kimono film is going to be titled Beautifully Broken. And it just talks about our earthly diversity stem back to the Father, just of spirits, because everything is from the earth. I mean, everything on earth has their own spot, niche, community, country, but we're all humans. We all live the same. We die. There's not one of us that just live because we're of a different color. Like, we all die. And there's a reason for that, but we all come from God. And so the whole concept is just not only unity, but knowing where we actually come from. Because just me personally, and I see it out in the world, we tend to put culture over the truth a lot of times. And so we'll sacrifice the truth because of what we've been raised around. And, maybe because I'm African, I'm going to do this or that. Or if someone's Asian, they're going to do this or that. When the real question is, but what is the truth? Like, it doesn't matter what you were raised around. It's what is the truth. And there's one truth. God is love, but God defines love. We can't keep defining love if God's already defined it. And the film talks about a lot of that stuff, but it's not a documentary. It'll be in a form of like an abstract, like cinematic visual. So it's gonna be a voiceover with a lot of stuff on screen. Like basically a lot of cool stuff on screen with a voiceover. Got the sculptures, maybe some skits in it, but it's gonna be really artistic, like nothing like whack, for lack of better words. But yeah, that's like a general meaning behind it.
So Chi, how is intimacy involved with your brand, with life, everything involved?
All right. So I mean, for me, everything is very intimate. Even like I was eating lentils the other day, just looking at it, I was like, this is so amazing. Like just like like no lie, like I was just like sometimes when I'm eating, I really honestly, like nowadays when I eat, I don't like to have my phone around me. I just want to eat, smell my food, eat my food, taste my water, if that makes sense, and just enjoy like what's going on right now. It's like you could say being in a moment, but it's just being grateful. It's like just realizing that there's goodness around at all times. And intimacy is just not only acknowledging that, but going deeper into that so it never leaves you. It's like the realization of love. The intimacy that I'm aiming for is just involvement, transparency. That's why I love recording behind the scenes stuff, showing like a lot of process, the prototypes of the garments, giving my thoughts on just life, knowing me. That's why I made a personal page, because I only had a GQC page, but I really wanted to just put at least some of my personal life out there too, because it just starts to feel like you're a robot. Well, I felt like I was a robot, just behind like the veil of my company. I didn't really enjoy it that much, and I just really enjoy one-on-one conversations with people, which is why I do like pop-ups. I like going out the house alone, just meet people, talk to people, random people. Yeah, and I don't know, I just think that quality, that's just a quality of me. And so it's just naturally gonna be in GQC, every part of it. Even the films, like I have poems that I've been writing since last year. I started getting back into writing, and it's all just from the heart. Like when I really, there's just things that I've been writing that kind of take a while because the idea is a little bit bigger and has to flow with visuals. But there was one I finished a couple of days ago entitled Sunsets, and it was just so beautiful because the moment, it was just love. Like I was reading the book of Isaiah, and I just happened to look outside and just saw like the sun just bouncing off of like cars and then just like hitting a cup in my living room. And it was just so simple, but it's like I'm alive, like I'm breathing, I have somewhere to stay. It doesn't matter where I'm staying, like I have shelter, I have family, I have whatever. But you can find anything to be grateful of, that's the point. But when you're actually grateful of it and you live in that mercy, there's so much happiness comes out of that. There's so much peace. Just knowing that God is with you and He wants to be with you no matter who you are. And you can always create from love at that point. There's no more depression that drives your, masterpieces. Like, why do we have to be depraved to create something that's good? That doesn't even make sense.
Thank you, Chi. That was amazing. I can't wait to see your growth. God got you. Jesus got you. And yeah, we love you.
Thank you, Jada. I'm happy for all your help. All right, peace.